SoE live, take one. Yeah, so today at SoE Live we have Ryan from Shenandoah Crunch. He's a junior at JMU, and he started a company where he makes granola, right?
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so let's jump into like your childhood, sort of like that's kind of far back, but
I wasn't expecting to go there.
like, was there anything you noticed about yourself growing up? Like, I don't want to, or you have sort of a passion for starting things, or was it cooking, or like, sort of what got you into this?
Yeah.
Are you Walter White?
No, I'm that so basically, born in an Italian family. So in an Italian family, you have a lot of cooking, a lot of food involved. Food is love, pretty much. If you're not eating enough, it's more. More food.
Right.
And it was funny. I actually lost maybe like 30 pounds about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I came home, and my great grandmother was like, "You're too skinny. Are you eating?" And so basically, food is a big part of my family.
Right.
And so I just started making food pretty much when I was young, 11, 12, just kind of go in the kitchen.
Just like in the family kitchen, making.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool.
Also, my aunt owned a business too. She actually owns a lingerie business. And has, at one point she had about 12 stores. So yeah, it's a little different, right? But I did work
12
there.
stores, so she's like an entrepreneur. I mean,
she is, yeah. She had, I guess, 4 or 5 states, and she had, a bunch of different stores. And she's now expanding into the men's clothing. So
I was gonna say men's lingerie.
No.
Cool.
No. But so she was being an inspiration for me and actually provided our investment, which was a huge thing.
Right.
And so we're really thankful to her for being able to get started.
Yeah, I mean, having someone to sort of model your own business off of is very, very useful. Yeah. A little mentor kind of, but in the family.
Yeah.
Very
And
cool.
every time I would hang out with her, she was always, I guess, saw a little bit of potential in me and starting my own business eventually. And so she would kind of pry into like, oh, you should do this, you should do this. And it
very
was
cool.
a trash business one day, and the next day it was, cupcakes. And it was like whatever.
Jump from idea to idea. So what about this idea sort of made it stick and made you want to pursue it and actually get it going?
Yeah, I'm a big supporter of local food, going to the farmer's market. And so I would go there as a student last semester. I actually just transferred here a year ago. So this is my, I guess, 3rd semester.
Where did you transfer in from?
I went to community college for 2 semesters, 3 semesters online at New Jersey Community College. Okay. And then I also went to Nova for a semester.
Are you from New Jersey or from Nova?
I was born in Philadelphia, and I lived there for 5 years. Moved to New Jersey, lived there until I graduated high school. And then my dad, who had been covering the Flyers for 25 years, then moved
to Nova for the Caps.
Exactly.
Got it.
So then I moved with them after graduation. Wow. And so then I guess I found out about JMU through just living in Virginia and hearing all the great things about it.
Right. Like what, 80% of us are from Nova or some crazy number like that? Yeah. Okay.
But it's nice because I know places in Pennsylvania, I know places in New Jersey, I know places here, so a lot of people just...
All the places that Shenandoah Crunch is going to expand to.
Exactly. Exactly. One day. So.
Yeah, so can you explain what Shenandoah Crunch is?
Sure. We're a granola business, so we do handcrafted granola. So it's my roommate and myself who started this back in February of 2014. So we're not even a year old. And basically we get all of our ingredients locally. So we'll go to mom and pop shops pretty much, get our ingredients there rather than going to Costco or ordering them online where the shipping and all of that produces emissions and it's just bad for the environment.
So you have sort of an environmental focus with it?
We do slightly. We're not organic, which is one thing that I'd maybe like to become in the future, but I don't want to charge $11 for a bag of granola. I'd like to keep it down. And so our product cost is a big thing. So, and we do it all in our apartment in North 38. So everything is done in our own kitchen.
That was a plug for North 38.
Right? Don't like me for that. But yeah, I mean, it started, just I guess like anything else would. Even like big like Kellogg's or something probably started the same way.
Yeah, I mean, Apple was a garage. Exactly. I'm sure most of the good restaurants or food companies started in kitchens.
Yeah.
How do you make granola?
Yeah, I
have no idea.
I get the question a lot. So basically you take oats, rolled oats, which we get from a place in Harrisonburg called Grandma's Pantry.
Okay.
Grandma's Pantry it's in the Shenandoah Heritage Market, and there's a real grandma. She actually started the business. And
really?
It's her own family business. It's I believe a Mennonite run business. And so You go in there and everything's bulk, everything's fresh and local, and so yeah, it's a really cool place. And we get our oats there. We get most of our raw ingredients, your cinnamon and all of that. And you basically just mix all the dry ingredients together, mix all the wet ingredients. We use local honey, which is really what what really helps.
Yeah.
And brings out the flavor. So all of our honey comes from Pure and Simple Farms, which is a vendor at the farmers market.
Okay. So this is all locally sourced.
Well, yes. Like the cinnamon and things that can't be made really even in America, and so we'll buy those locally if we can't source them directly from them.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you find that's like helping sales? That people, they see it's local, they want to support that?
Yeah, and what we say during our sales pitch, I guess you could say, with the farmers market, you have people, they're seeing 100 vendors in a matter of minutes, so they kind of need something to catch them. And our thing is support 5 local businesses with 1 bag. And really that's
super cool.
That's what it is. You're supporting us as one. You're supporting Friendly City Food Co-op, which is where we get some of our ingredients, some of our recipes, ideas. We're grabbing some ingredients there. Also, Pure and Simple Farms, Grandma's Pantry, Country Canner actually does all their own apple butter and pumpkin butter, all that put into our granola as well. And that's in the Shenandoah Heritage Market.
So I'm still confused on the whole granola thing. So is the honey like the glue, essentially?
The honey is the glue, yeah.
Okay.
That's our only sweetener. It's our only preservative. That was another thing that if you go to the grocery store, you'll notice on the shelves, you'll have, a box of granola, you're thinking it's going to be healthy food. You flip it over and it's maybe 20, 30 grams of sugar, which is something we really did not want to have in ours. A bunch of preservatives, and so it's one of those phony health foods that you think is healthy, and so we wanted to change that. And so we're bringing the sugar down. Our sugar is between 3 and 7 grams per bag. That's just from the honey, and the local preservative is the honey as well, and they can stay fresh for up to 3 months just around your counter.
All right, so we have our first question. So we have a bunch of SoE members here. If you can see them, there's a bunch of people. And
awesome people.
Yeah, a bunch of awesome people. And so we have our first question from the audience today.
All right, well, my name's Amanda. I'm a junior, and my question was, how did you get started with all of it? So, I actually talked to your roommate at the farmer's market the other weekend, because I, am, so interested in this kind of stuff. I'm a total foodie, love granola, and, I was how'd you do it? I know you just, went in your kitchen, love granola, let's make it and let's sell it, but, how'd you actually get started? How did you make this a business so you could, go to the farmer's market, start selling, make a name for yourself?
Exactly. That's a great question. It wasn't overnight. It wasn't something that I just, baked in the oven and then said, I'm going to go to the farmer's market. It's not that easy, unfortunately, but fortunately for other reasons. So you have to have a health inspection from the Virginia Department of Agriculture to make food and sell it at a farmer's market in Virginia, which is really good. It's not, yes. You think of a college apartment with Saturday mornings we're making it, so it's rough.
Okay, cool.
So, so we came out with it in February. Pretty much end of January, I started trying a couple recipes out. My roommate was like, "This is awesome. We could sell this." And so basically we kind of went at it, and my sister-in-law is actually a graphic designer. And so she came up with our logo, our packaging, and all of that, which was really helpful. And that kind of gave us, the first thing you think of is a name and what is your logo. And so for us, that kind of gave us a picture. And on our logo, you'll see the mountains in the background, which resembles the Shenandoah Mountains and the Blue Ridge. And then we have the oats coming out. So we have different colors. So we really wanted it to be something that looked local and looked homemade. And so that's why we do it in the brown bags rather than plastic bags, because it looks farmer's market, looks, right out of your house.
It looks super, it looks like it's a great product. I saw one the other day. Where did I see it? I feel like it was brought.
It's at the pod, actually.
That's where I
Yep.
that's where I saw it.
You're in the on-campus PODs?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just how did that, how did you get JMU to start supporting you and get the money to make it a business? You have your logo and everything, but make it official that people start supporting it.
Yeah, it's kind of a step-by-step process. You come up with the logo, then you start getting your finances in order. Where are we going to have the money to start this? Because we need to order stickers and labels for our product, and that was actually probably the biggest expense. You wouldn't think of it, but we spent thousands of dollars in just labels. And so for a startup, and you don't have that money, so we contacted a couple different people that we knew and families, and we were able to get the funds for it. And then you just start building Facebook pages and you get your name out there, and then we got accepted to the farmer's market pretty much days before the farmers market started. So then we had to get everything in, and we were labeling Saturday morning, hours before. Maybe
so startup.
Yeah, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. We're just, we got to go.
Yeah.
And so, then once we got to the farmers market, we started meeting people like Carol and other people who really got us involved with the community, which was nice. So it's like, oh, you should go to downtown, check out the co-op, and start selling in there. So we did that over the summer, and that was one of our big goals. And we set incremental goals for ourselves. So we started off saying we want to get to the farmers market, and we did. So we said, all right, we can take this to the next step. Our end of summer goals were get into JMU and start selling at the co-op, and we did both of those. So we were really step by step is how you do it. And we started the JMU process because you have to sell through Aramark,
Right.
which is pretty tough to do,
Yeah.
especially as college students. You have to prove yourself. Like, we're not just putting this together and doing it sloppily. We're actually following the rules. And so once we were able to do that, we started in May, and then we found out pretty much like the farmers market a couple days before. So we got our bags in right before we went, and so now it's there. But
Yeah, was it difficult to like get through? I feel like I have so many questions. I'm sorry. Was it difficult to get through JMU and start like selling at like the pod and stuff?
that's where the Aramark came in.
Yeah.
So we had to have meetings with Aramark, and really we started almost I don't want to say a revolution or anything like that, but we started kind of a new thing that was going on. And so now you'll see in the pod, it's not just us, it's a whole farmers market section. So we have local dough, we have local pasta, syrup, yeah. And we actually bump into these people all the time, which is really neat because it's like, oh, I know that person, or like this is my friend, or this is the person at the farmers market. We bumped into someone in Charlottesville, and this person is now like supportive of us and just a fellow entrepreneur. So yeah, it's really neat to see the response of everyone.
Yeah, that's really awesome, especially like Jamie's all about like building a community and like working with Harrisonburg, and I think that just like embodies it like perfectly, and like that's like the start of something so great.
Thanks.
So yeah, congratulations on that.
Appreciate it, thanks.
Yeah, I saw in the pod. Thank you for the question. I saw in the pod like how they have like that new like the whole homegrown where they literally show you how far away from JMU the places that it makes. So are you like the one that's like
we're like 0.1.
Yeah,
0.1 miles.
We're right down the road.
Yeah.
There's like something like 40 miles away and 60 miles away, and then there's
Exactly.
38.
Yeah, we were joking about that when we saw that.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, this is sort of cliche, but your roommate saw you making it and said, we can sell this. So would you like say that you're the Wozniak and he's the Steve in this equation, or
There doesn't always need to be a Steve
Jobs?
Wozniak.
Yeah. I mean, or I guess tell me more about that team dynamic. And like you guys are roommates, so does that get to be problematic ever, or do you have any lessons
the
learned?
relationship is interesting because we met in August, right? Because I was a random.
August.
Well, no, not this past August. The year
ago
before.
when you first
yeah,
got here.
so August of 2013.
Got it.
So I was a transfer student, and actually my whole house was transfer students.
Okay.
And so they all knew each other, and I was the random. And so I was kind of like, and they're all from Fredericksburg. And it was funny. I looked them up on Facebook, and there was like certain ones. I was like, I'm not going to get along with this one that well, just from like their profiles.
The first, yeah.
And Scott, who worked as a barista, and I worked as a barista in the past too, I was like, I think I'll get along with him. There's only so many personalities that a barista really has, so I just figured I'd get along with them. And so we started it in February. So we didn't really know each other that much, and now I consider him one of my best friends. So it was one of those things that we went through so much in a short time frame. I mean, the second 6 months that I knew him was completely different than the first.
Right.
So it was just interesting, and there's a kind of a pulling, back and forth of ideas, and like I want to do this, no, I want to do that, and so it is interesting, and it does test like your friendship a little bit.
Yeah.
But we haven't actually gotten in a screaming match, or haven't gotten like in each other's face at all, which I thought would happen by now.
Right.
But no, it's been all good. So
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, you hear a lot of horror stories about. But I guess one thing I noticed that's different is like you haven't been friends for years, and a lot of times people will get involved in business together in that situation, and it doesn't really end up well.
Yeah.
Is it just you two in?
It's just
Shenandoah
us.
Crunch?
Yeah.
How is it doing all the work?
It's a little tough. Right now, being in the semester, we're dealing with schoolwork.
Right.
So we're both taking 16 credits, and it's just getting to the point where we're just keeping it where it is right now. Whereas during our break in the summertime, we're expanding it. And now we're just kind of putting the brakes on, saying let's fulfill our orders from our stores, let's go to the farmer's market, but nothing really else.
So what's the plan for Shenandoah Crunch?
Yeah.
Well, I have a 5-year plan, just kind of in my head. It's not written down. This
Right.
is the type of thing that when you're starting a business, you're not really sleeping a whole lot, So
Yeah.
you're up, I'm falling asleep, like about to fall asleep, and I think of an idea. And so I get up and I
have to.
actually, when we first started, I said, Scott, here's a journal, and here's, one for me. And so
That's cute.
when you have, I know, right? No, but mark certain things that happen. So I would write in there, today we started, we did this. And then, 2 weeks later, I would write another entry. And
That's gonna be awesome to look back on.
it will
yeah.
be. It will be. And I've actually stopped doing it, just as much. I have maybe 10 entries in there, and I probably stopped 6 months ago. But I'd like to do it incrementally.
At every big moment.
Exactly. And so when we sold 100 bags, it was that went in there. When we got into the farmer's market, different things like
Yeah.
that. And so I don't know if Scott's even done it at all, but it was my space to just write down an idea. So when I was falling asleep one night, I actually came up with this 5-year plan of what I wanted it to look like. And that's kind of how it works. It doesn't really, it's not, I don't want to say that school doesn't really do much for it, but there's not a whole lot of education that someone can tell you that, this is what's going to happen to you, or this is going to come to you at the middle of the night. That's not really something that they'll teach you in a classroom.
Yeah.
That's kind of just something that happens. Maybe it's unique to me, but I think
No, I've been
definitely,
there.
I'm sure people in the audience can say that too. You
Well,
just have an idea randomly.
In my opinion, it's I go hard from 8 a.m. till 2 a.m.
Sure.
sometimes, and when you're right about to fall asleep, that's the only time you have a free second to
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Because you've been focusing on specific problems.
Exactly.
So a lot of times the best ideas come to you then.
Yeah.
Quick question about, so we have some students here who are interested in starting up their own sort of food-focused businesses.
Of course. Yeah.
Food trucks have been mentioned, a bunch of other different venues.
Yeah.
What's a good, or do you have any words of wisdom from what you've found? Any cool entries of attack or anything like that?
Yeah. I feel like this one's kind of cliche, but don't let people tell you can't do it.
That's a good one.
Not only that, no one really said that to me, but it was kind of oh, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. This has too much fat in it. And it gets to the point where you say, well, this is my business, and this is how I want to do it.
Yeah.
And so it kind of sounds a little bit bossy or whatever, but you kind of have to lay down the line and say, this is something that I'm doing, and this is how I want it to be.
Right.
And so, we've experimented with different things, coconut oil and that kind of thing, but coconut oil is $12 a jar. So, there's certain things that we've been trying, but I think just stick with your idea, and if you feel like it's the right thing to do, stick with it.
Okay.
And of course, just with having kind of power and starting a business, you can become flawed, and you can say, I want to cut cost here. And if we did that, in certain cases, we will. We'll get packaging from California or something because it's a cheaper option.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to the ingredients, we don't want to skimp on that, and so that's why we get it, our honey locally. But we might be paying 3 times as much for our honey.
Yeah.
But if you have values, stick to them in your business.
Absolutely.
And that's how. I would
How
say.
are you, what kind of feedback are you getting as far as, do you have any complaints about your recipe, and how do you deal with, customer service from,
Sure.
and it's less of a, I know with technology products, you've got tons of complaints and bugs and things like that, but this is a food business. What do you see in that?
Yeah, the first thing that we confronted was gluten-free. That's a big thing on the market right now, and a lot of people have celiacs. And so we realized that going into the farmer's market, and we kind of had some recipes and kind of in our back pocket to be ready for that.
But you didn't have them. You didn't have any gluten-free options.
No.
Okay,
But
okay.
what we did was we had a notepad, and we just recorded a tick mark for every gluten-free person that came up to us and said, do you guys have gluten-free? Or I would buy it, but I'm gluten-free. And so we gathered maybe 25 on the first day. Wow. And we were like, that's 25 bags right there.
Point. Right.
And so we made it, and people really liked it, and it went over really well. But we don't want to certify it because we're all out of our same kitchen, and it's kind of iffy with saying it's gluten-free. So we tell people we make it in the same facility, all of that. Another thing is we get some complaints if it's a little bit soft, and it's not your typical crunchy granola. And for a name that's Shenandoah Crunch, you're expecting that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But it's something that we're really experimenting with, and we want it to get crunchy. That's what I like about granola. But sugar is what does it. And so that's what we've realized is that when we put like a bunch of brown sugar in there, it'll be crunchy, but then we're just going back to the same problem we had in the beginning of we're trying to fix this. So we're working on that, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to get to that
I
point.
want to see what your counter looks like with all these like experimentations. Like, here's the brown sugar version.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Here's the extra honey version.
Yeah.
That looks like a lot of fun. How did you? So did you come from like a business background? You seem to be super comfortable with all the financials of everything. I know that's a problem that a lot of that I know I'm personally like not aware of and learning every day on like just all the tax all the tax codes and all that stuff. And I know a lot of people in here have those questions too. So like, how did you become so apt in it?
Yeah, I'm really not. I'm like you. I mean, I was actually walking today, and I was like, I hope they don't ask me about like finances because I really don't know. No, it's fine. It's fine. No, because I mean, Scott does most of the finances, and he has an Excel sheet, and it's pretty messy. I'll be honest. It's just numbers everywhere, and I mean, it's color coded, but it's not even the colors really make sense. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of jumbled, and I'm in 291 right now, which I'm sure a lot of business, people are in or have taken it, and so everything has to have its own place. Yeah. And so we haven't done break-even analysis. We haven't done everything you're taught to do in managerial accounting and all of that. And so that's something we really want to get to, and I think that's what I'm going to take time to do over winter break is just spend maybe a whole week and just sort it out and make sure I know if I sell 50 bags, did I break even or all of those numbers.
I think you're on the right path.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things that you just kind of have to.
Right. Do we have any questions? Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Just so we can make sure we get the audio.
Quick question about like being like a JMU student startup. Like,
Sure.
if you're like, what are like the operation and like starting problems and like of storage and preparation that you come with just like kind of running out of your apartment or like not having like a place of work?
Sure. Space is the big issue. We went to the farmer's market the first day with 150 bags because we really didn't know how many we were going to sell. I think we sold 40 that day. So we had a whole lot of granola and not a whole lot of space. We had 2 other roommates, and so we didn't want them jumping over things. So we just pretty much put it in a corner in our house. So there's, the Shenandoah Crunch corner where we just took over, and there's bins of granola and all sorts of pans and everything. But then we're getting to the point now that we need to get out of our apartment and get somewhere else because JMU put in an order for like 150 bags. So we can't have 150 bags plus what we're making at the farmer's market, plus what the co-op is doing, plus now we're at 7 different places in Virginia. So we can't do all of that out of our apartment. And I can just see my roommate roll his eyes when he like walks out and there's like pans and oats and like everything's just all over the place. And so, we're looking to get out of our apartment, and we have a couple options that we have set up. And actually, Campus Cookies was something we talked about, is actually moving into their kitchen and then working with them. It actually didn't come to fruition, but we did talk to Scott, can't remember his last name, but his name's Scott, who runs Campus Cookies.
Yeah.
And so,
another sort of same story.
Exactly. He started before 300, all of that.
Right.
And so
Wow,
it's interesting. And now they don't let you do food in 300 anymore, which is kind of upsetting. I actually talked to the dean. The dean of college business is one of our frequent customers.
That's awesome.
Which is really cool. And the
customer to
assistant,
have.
the assistant dean, all of that. And it's neat. It's neat to see them just kind of like in regular clothes or just walking up and they know you by name and all of that.
That's really cool.
But we were like, hey, can you put something in there so we can make
Right.
food? But no, they can't do any food, unfortunately, or apps in 300. But yeah, it's something that we want to take far and see what we can do with it. So
Very cool.
So is this your plan like after graduation?
well, that's the thing. I'm actually studying abroad in Italy for 3 months in the next summer,
Wow.
and so that puts me way
It's hard
far
to make
away.
granola
Exactly.
across the sea.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens by then, but we're talking about maybe having a couple employees in the future, which would be a big step for us, and just so we can
That'd be awesome.
have it all being made and sold, and then we can do all of the kind of overhead stuff that
Right.
needs to be done.
Where are you studying abroad?
Reggio Calabria.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do they eat granola there?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do, or I can make them.
Yeah, they will soon.
Yeah. But
Very cool.
yeah.
So I guess that's sort of
Are there any other questions?
we should open it up to the crowd. You guys can jump in if you want or not. But
We got one.
cool.
Yeah, real quick.
Sam.
I mean, I don't really know how granola's. Oh, I'm Sam. I'm a sophomore. I don't really know how granola's made, but does the weather play any part in that? Like this winter, are you gonna have problems getting ingredients and stuff because it's all local? And I know Shenandoah winters are pretty harsh.
Yeah. We are expecting a winter very similar to the last one, unfortunately. But I don't think it really will have a huge impact. The bees, I'm not sure what to expect because we started making granola basically in February and March. So right then, I think there was still like a good honey supply. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to actually talk to the person that we get our honey from and see if that would be an issue. But I actually haven't thought of that, so that's a great point. I should probably start working on it. No, but I think it should be fine, and we're doing everything, of course, inside of our apartment as well. So nothing would impact that at all. As far as sometimes humidity can make the oats, softer or things like that. But I'm not expecting anything, but we'll see.
Awesome. Well, I love your product. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Got another question? You had one.
How you doing? My name's Derek. I'm a senior. And my question was, what is the biggest obstacle that you've overcome thus far?
Great question.
That is a good question. I don't actually know. The biggest obstacle, I think, is just getting started. Just saying, this is something I'm going to do, I'm going to stick to. And that's something really hard to make up in your mind. Because when I make a decision, I usually think about it, depending on how big this decision is, for at least a couple weeks. And that's what I did with this. I kept, on the bus, kept coming to my mind, or I was walking, and I was just popping in my head over and over again, and I realized this is something I want to do. And so the biggest obstacle for me was just getting to that point and saying, this is something I'm going to do. And then I asked my roommate, pretty much just walked in the door one day, and I was like, do you want to do this? Because I'm ready. And he's like, oh yeah, sure. I'm like, no, that's not the answer I want. I want definitely, I want you to think about it.
I'll get back to you in 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's what I wanted. And he pretty much from the get-go was ready to go. So that was helpful. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, really, really appreciate you
Yeah.
coming to this. That was a great
Go to
insight
the Success
into.
Center and get some Shenandoah Crunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some other shout outs?
Yeah.
Do you have a Facebook page?
Yeah. We have a Facebook page. It's just Shenandoah Crunch. A website, shenandoahcrunch.com. It's not perfect, but it does the job. You can get sales online.
We can get you from the POD and the Farmers Market.
Yeah,
so
Farmers
far.
Market, that's Harrisonburg, also Friendly City Food Co-op. There's a yoga studio if anyone does yoga. At the center, they sell it there.
Cool.
Cheese World in Harrisonburg.
Cheese
If you haven't
World.
been, go. It's really cool. They have great cheese. And so they have our product. He was actually the first retail we went out of. And
You
we
went for cheese.
Do they have
first.
other granola?
for cheese. No. No, we went to him because he just started in Harrisburg.
Okay.
He came in here, and actually, the person who we did our health inspection with, Kate Weekly, is a really great person, and she's a talker. She talked to us for 4 hours. And the health inspection probably took 15 minutes. And so we're kind of like, when is she going to leave? But she gave us so many great ideas. She really did. She
awesome.
she told us about Cheese World coming in. You got to go contact her.
Right, yeah,
That's
cheese
your
and
first-
granola.
Yeah,
Perfect.
right? And so I went into Walmart one day, and it's right next to Walmart. It's right near the Five Guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, right near the
okay,
Five
yeah,
Guys.
yeah.
And
Cool.
so I was just doing errands one day, and I was like, I'm just going to stop in. He's like, sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay, no, I know where it is.
Yeah.
That's
And I mean,
cool.
$150 right there on granola.
Are you for real?
So, yeah.
How
and so,
well does it sell in a cheese world?
Not well. Not well, no. So we haven't gotten a reorder from him, and it's been 3 months. So I'm not
Gotcha.
sure if we will.
Okay.
But it's those types
Yeah,
of things.
absolutely.
It's we have to do it
Yeah.
and see how it goes, because you never know what can happen with that. There might be this social trend that cheese and granola pairing or with wine. I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
I
And
believe it.
Worth
we
a shot.
and we
Rare things have
sell
happened.
yeah, and we sell at Cross Keys Winery, which is actually where I
it's
work
a nice
too.
Place.
Yeah, so, and then now at Skyline Cafe, which is right near Massanutten, which was a kind of cool plug for us because my coworker at Cross Keys actually owns that place. So he was like, we get a lot of Massanutten people there, so it's another opportunity.
Yeah.
And he said it's been selling well too. So we're just kind of taking it step by step. But
That's awesome.
yeah.
Sweet.
Well, yeah.
Take us out.
Yeah, thanks again for coming. This
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the first SoE Live. You sort
First
of
of many.
first of many.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this often.
I'm sure a
Inaugural
bunch of people will
interview.
be up here too.
Yeah, so after this, please, everyone feel free to come up and ask more questions and
Cool.
get to know each other. Thanks again, I guess, signing off.
Cool.
So, yeah.